Hey everybody, welcome back to Gun Totin' Minnesotan. My name is Andrew, and today I want to talk you through why I have two CZ457s. Now, some people would think that's just incredibly redundant, aren't they exactly the same? But the nice thing about CZ457s and 455s, for that matter, is they're really easy to work on and change things out and customize them so that they're not exactly the same. And it's more than just a difference in the stock or the trigger group that I have. There's plenty of options on the market now where you can basically just take that 457 receiver and make it into whatever you want. And I really like the 457s for their versatility, their price efficiency, and their precision capability. I found them to be incredibly consistent if you feed them with the right ammo and you are a decent shooter as well. So on top, what you see here is a CZ457 with, I'll just start from one end and work the other way. I have a silencer on there from Silencer Co. That's a Sparrow. Then I have a 16-inch Pete's Pillars barrel. That's, I think, a .89 contour or something like that. And that's a really tight shooting barrel. Huge success on that one. Actually, both of these are Pete's Pillars barrels. And this one, sometimes I think it shoots even tighter. It's hard for me to say, but it shoots really well. And it seems to like that combination with the HB Industries. That's something that you can actually buy. They do sell CZs in HB Industries chassis. So on top of that, I have a Zeiss S3 LRP. This is the 4-25 version, mil, of course. And I use an Atlas bipod when I shoot this. Sunway Photo for the Arca rail. And I have a Pete's Pillars trigger spring in there, an 8-ounce or a 10-ounce, can't remember which one it was, but thank you to Pete for that trigger spring. I have an Anarchy Outdoors pistol grip on there, and I highly suggest the pistol grips. The Alpha is probably my favorite right now that I've run, but I also like the Tuxedo grip quite a bit. And moving back, I have a side folder. I can't remember who that was. I think I actually purchased that, so I'm not even gonna throw that out. And then I have a Raps C from Fab Defense on top. Aftermarket bolt and an Area 419 rail. This happens to be a 50 MOA rail because, again, I have the 4-25, which has a lot of internal elevation in it. So that's a nice setup, and this is kind of more my hunter setup. I know it's kind of heavy. It's not ultra light, and it's got a couple extra things on there. The optic is a little bit overkill, but I do sometimes loan it out for competitions, and I let my friends run on this rifle, so I like to keep it at least set up to a minimum so it can compete well, and the S3 is totally sufficient for that. You could run an X match with this. You could run out to 500. I actually shoot this out to 630 when it's not as windy as it is now, and it does reasonably well, even with that 16-inch barrel and the can on there. This one happens to do really well with Norma ammo. Norma match seems to do really good with this chamber. It is just a match chamber from Pete's Pillars. All right, so let's move on from that. Now, this is the 22-inch Pete's Pillars barrel. This one's a .96, so not quite an inch, but I haven't found it to loosen up. It's been able to stay in place between hot and cold. I haven't found the two supporting 10-in Allens to loosen up. Those bolts or screws or whatever, those have stayed tight the whole time. It was a pretty nice tight fit. Tolerances were good, really good for my particular action. I know CZ457 action is going to be a little different because it's mass produced, but mine was great and it fit in nice and snug. And then Anechoic Suppressors sent out their Aneco X22, and that is a really nice can. It's a little bit better of a flow through than the other one, and it's much lighter. I'm a big fan of Anechoic Suppressors. I do have an Atlas Super Cal there. I have the Pete's Pillars weights on this one because I want this one to be very heavy. And then Pete also sent out the Gen 2 MDT here that I'm running. I had to add a couple of spacers on the back. Depending on what optic I run and what the eye relief looks like for that optic and how it's constructed for first half and second half, I typically need a couple spacers in there and then just a little lift on the cheek riser. But this is a great chassis. It's very comfortable for tall people. And one more thing I should probably throw out there. I have been using some of the Armstrong Precision 3D printed CZ457 MIGs. So thank you to Armstrong Precision. On top, I have a Pete's Pillars 30 MOA rail. I like to keep this one as optimized as I can to stay away from the extreme edges or ends of range of travel, because typically I will shoot this at 50 and 100 instead of shooting it always at really far distances. It's a little bit more of a match gun for me, and it performs well in that way. I have a Discovery Optics bubble level, which they just sent out. Sunway Photo rings on this one and this one, different heights. but these have bubble levels built in as well on the first bubble level facing you. And I have the Zeiss S3 6-36, that's also mil. So these are my two 22s, and this one comes hunting much more. If I'm just gonna plank with someone at a bench, I can take this one out, it's fine. But if we're gonna walk around, if we're gonna do any sort of practice training, I don't mind beating up on this one a little more. And it shoots so dang tight that I don't feel like I'm giving somebody second best. I think it's a really, really adequate 4.57, and it's just not as heavy. It's easier to move around and negotiate around props too when I loan it out to friends. And then when I'm hunting, if I'm in and out of a stand, it's just way easier because I have a side folder on it. I can fit it in my backpack really well, and it weighs several pounds less than this monster right here, which tends to be, I don't know, 4 pounds, 5 pounds heavier than this rifle is altogether. As of now, I'm not aware of any option to just buy CZ457 actions. And that can be kind of frustrating because if they would just sell us the actions, we could build up things exactly how we want it. And that would be nice, wouldn't it, everybody? But they don't do that. So right now, one of the best options is to buy a CZ457 Scout or something like that, the synthetic, the American synthetic. And they're so dang affordable that you can pretty much make it worthwhile. If you buy it for $400 to $500 in there, it's easy to strip off that stuff and then buy the rest of the things. If you go to Anarchy Outdoors, you go to Pete's Pillars, you're gonna find resources to get yours set up. Another great place would be E. Arthur Brown Company. I have gotten so many chassis from E. Arthur Brown Company, and they have awesome gear over there, pretty good prices, and it's a Minnesota company, so I'm pretty favorable towards them. But yeah, I can't find the actions anywhere by themselves. You do have to buy the rifle. Is it worth it buying the action when you have to strip off the barrel and some of those extra things in the trigger group? You're basically left with the stripped action. My opinion is yes, because of the adaptability and the ability. You can send it into Kenny at Desert Works Precision. He's got an ability to thermo fit barrels onto actions and kind of like basically a permanent affixing of the barrel, and you're gonna get really, really impressive results from what I'm seeing from my friends. Like my friend Joe, I know he runs one on his channel all the time. If you're watching, Joe, appreciate you, brother. But I like the 4.57 more than the RPR, more than any of the Savage line, more than any of the Ruger line altogether. I just think that you're gonna get better precision and probably a smoother action, more consistent results, and better aftermarket support than all the other brands put together, including Tikka. I just don't think they're at that place yet. Maybe they'll get there someday, but right now, I still think CZ wins the day for the mix of having precision, affordability, adaptability, and accessibility to people. You can walk into a lot of stores and still find a CZ457, and that's why I have two. And you know what? I might actually get a third at some point. I was thinking about going with a carbon fiber ultralight barrel. I know a couple brands that I collaborate with do make ultralight barrels for those. I would really like to see what the performance could be because I've had a great experience with Summit Precision on Ruger rifles and 1022s, Chargers. I'm seeing that carbon fiber barrels can really compete at a high level with 22. And since I'm not getting them smoking hot all the time, I think there might be something worth getting there. And then I would have a really heavy rifle, a medium weight rifle, and then an ultralight, maybe kind of backpacker style hunting rifle exclusively. And they're pretty affordable. It's better, in my opinion, than going out and buying a Ruger, and then you just kind of are left with the best that you can do is an aftermarket trigger, aftermarket barrel, and they don't seem to keep up. In my opinion, the Ruger RPR rimfire don't keep up. The Tikka don't seem to keep up, not quite. And the Savages don't quite keep up. I'm a big fan of them for what they are, and sometimes they have a little different aim in the market. CZ seems to have the aftermarket support to get you into all of them. So you're not limited. I still think they're a great deal. It's 2025, and I'm still running a CZ457.